Have you ever wondered how machines actually learn from their mistakes? Today we are unlocking the secret algorithm that made modern AI possible, backpropagation. But hold on, this video is part of a bigger journey. In the first video, we understood what is deep learning along with other aspects associated with it. In the second video, we went through what is single layer perceptron and why it fails at XOR problems. In the third YouTube short, I quickly went through the artificial neural network. Now, allow me to quickly reveal a secret. Without backpropagation, neural networks won't just struggle, they won't learn at all. That's why in today's video, we will uncover two things. How backpropagation actually teaches a network by turning errors into knowledge, and how the multilayer perceptron or artificial neural network became the foundation of deep learning. By the end, you will know not just what they are, but why they are the reason AI can recognize faces, translate languages, and even create art. So let's peel back the layers and open the black box of AI. Let's begin. So before we go into multilayer perceptron neural network, let us understand how it is different from the single layer perceptron neural network. So the multilayer perceptron neural network has the flexibility to add as many layers as you want. At each layer, you can add as many neurons as you want. This type of network is suitable to solve the non-linearly classifiable problems. In case of single layer perceptron model, there was only one hidden layer and it can be used to solve the linearly classifiable problems only. XOR problem is a good example of non-linearly classifiable problem, and similarly and OR problems are a good example of linearly classifiable problems. Now let me quickly revise what is binary classification problem. In case of binary classification problem, the output should be 0 or 1, that is, the output should be of binary form. And whenever we design a network to solve the binary classification problem, we have only one neuron at the end giving the predicted output. Now let me quickly draw for you a single layer perceptron. In case of single layer perceptron model, there is input layer, hidden layer, and output layer. The input layer has, in this example, 3 inputs. Let us say x1, x2, x3. Apart from that, we have got one neuron in the hidden layer. And from this neuron, we will get the predicted output. And since we have only one neuron, we can call this as binary classification problem. So we can call this network as designed to solve the linearly separable binary classification problems. Now, for each input, we have associated weight with it. Let us say these weights are W1, W2 and W3. Apart from these weights, there is another input which is called as bias. Now, the input values along with weight and bias will go to the linear combination step of the neuron. After completing the linear combination step, we will move to the activation function step, and this activation function step will generate the predicted output. This is the single layer perceptron model. Now let me quickly help you understand what are these values x1, x2, x3 and what exactly are we trying to do in this example. So here let us say we have a student data set which is having unrelated inputs and outputs. On the basis of this data, we have to train a model to help us make predictions for other set of students. Now let me quickly create a data set for you where we will assume that x1 is the IQ of students, x2 are the number of study hours and x3 are the play hours, and the output is whether the student gets pass or failed, that is binary output. Now for this data set, for the first student, let us try to find out the predicted output. So here we have x1 as 100, x2 as 5 and x3 as 1. So in the previous videos we also went through what are weights. Weights are the importance of the features with respect to output or sub-output, and these are initialized randomly and then further updated on the basis of loss. Let us assume for this example our weight 1, weight 2 and weight 3 values are initialized as 0.01, 0.02 and 0.01 respectively. Also, let me quickly go through what is bias. The bias is used to avoid zero output. That is, in case the data is all zero or is intended to make the output zero, then bias will help us to avoid having a zero output. Let me also quickly revisit what is linear combination and what is activation function. Linear combination and activation functions are the two steps which are carried out inside the neuron. What happens in the linear combination step? So in the linear combination step, we calculate the weighted sum of inputs along with bias, which is given by this formula. For our use case, we can extrapolate this formula as x1w1 plus x2w2 plus x3w3 plus bias, which will be equal to 100 into w1 plus 5 into w2 plus, since x3 value is 1 into w3 plus bias. Now what is activation function? Activation functions are of multiple types like step function, sigmoid function, ReLU function, tanh, so on and so forth. The purpose of activation function is to convert the linear combination output into output which will be in between 0 or 1. So for this step or for this iteration, which let us say iteration 1, as we have assumed the weights, let us also assume that the value of bias is 0.1 and find out the predicted output for the first data set. So we will have the linear combination as 100 into 0.01 plus 5 into 0.02 plus 1 into 0.01 plus 0.1, and this will be equal to 1 plus 0.1 plus 0.01 plus 0.1, and therefore this will be equal to 1.21. This is our Z value. Now this value we will pass to the activation function. So sigma equals to 1 upon 1 plus e to the power minus 1.21. This is sigmoid activation function. So as we pass the value of our linear combination into the sigmoid activation function, we get 0.770299. Therefore our predicted output is 0.770299. Now this predicted output is on the basis of the weights and bias which we initialized. So let me quickly write down the predicted output in the table. Therefore now let us calculate the loss for this data set. The loss will be, as we know, the actual output was 0 and our predicted output is 0.7. Therefore the loss is equals to, if we calculate absolute error, squared absolute error, we will get 0.0770299 square, which is equal to 1.54. Now our target is to minimize the loss, and in order to do that we need to update the weights using optimizers and backpropagation. So this is all about the single layer perceptron model and what exactly we are trying to achieve. Now let me quickly draw for you a multi-layer perceptron model. As you can see, in the multi-layer perceptron neural network we have drawn 2 hidden layers, and in each hidden layer we are having one neuron. But wait, we can have multiple neurons as well. Now in the first hidden layer we have 2 neurons, and in the second hidden layer we have 1 neuron. Now let me quickly write the weights and input values and other things as we did for the single layer perceptron model. Okay, so we are done with writing all the required values in the multi-layer perceptron model. We can say that this neuron is designed to solve the non-linearly separable binary classification problems. So let us quickly go through all these steps in this problem. So we have step 1, step 2, step 3 and step 4. So in the step 1, as we did before, we will calculate the linear combination value. Z1 equals x1 w1 plus x2 w3 plus x3 w5 plus b1, and similarly we have z2 equals to x1 w2 plus x2 w4 plus x3 w6 plus b2. Now this can be written in a simpler form, in the form of matrices. So this is our step 1. Now let us go through the second step, that is applying the linear activation function. So this is our step 2, in which we calculate the sigma 1 and sigma 2 by passing the linear combination output, that is z1 and z2, to the sigmoid function. Now let us move to the step number 3. So in the step number 3, we will use the outputs of first hidden layer to get the output of the second hidden layer. So before moving to step number 4, let me quickly explain what is step number 3. So in the step number 3, what we did, we used the output of the first hidden layer, that is sigma 1 and sigma 2, to calculate the Z3, that is the linear combination of the second hidden layer. Now we will calculate the output of the second hidden layer. Okay, so this was a very simple step in which we pass the linear combination value to the activation function, and this is our final predicted output with the initialized weights. So this was all about the multi-layer perceptron model. Now let us go to the backpropagation step, in which we will use an optimizer to update the weights so that we can improve and minimize the loss. So as the English literal meaning of the word says, we are propagating in the backward direction. So when we were doing the prediction, we were doing forward propagation. That is, we were going from input towards the output. In the back propagation, we will do reverse. We will move from output towards input and update the weights along. That is, we will be updating weights in the reverse order, from nth to the first weight. In this formula, what is what? First value is the new updated weight. How this is calculated? This is calculated using the old weight. To calculate the updated weight, we manipulate the old weight using the learning rate and the slope of loss function versus weight curve. Now let me explain this to you graphically. This graph is parabolic in nature, and usually the loss function versus weight is in this form. As we see, the loss is minimum at the global minima of this parabola, and our target is to minimize the loss. Let us assume that our original weight value, that is W old, lies somewhere here, and we need to reach to a value which is somewhere approximately near to W OPT, that is optimized weight. How do we do that? Okay, so now as we know, the W OPT, that is the optimized weight value, is greater than the W old, we clearly know that we need to add something to the W old value. Now let me explain with you what is slope and when it is negative and when it is positive. Slope is negative when the right side of the tangent is downwards. For example, in this case at W old, the tangent, if we draw a tangent, the right side of the tangent points downwards. Now let us take another point which is exactly opposite to W old, and if we draw a line at this new arbitrary point, we will find that the right side of this tangent is upwards, and therefore the slope is positive. Now let us see what happens when the slope is negative. Now since we have a negative slope, the equation will look like this. That is, the W new will be greater than W old. And this is what we need. So when the slope is negative at W old, we want the W new value to be greater than the W old value. That is, we are moving towards the global minimum. And this should be opposite when the W old value is at the right side of the graph. At the time we need to move towards the optimizer, and therefore at the time the W old value should be greater than the W new value. When the slope is positive, I hope this is clear. Now let us talk about what is learning rate. Learning rate should be kept small, otherwise the model will fail to converge with given data. So learning rate is basically the rate with which we are updating the weights. Let me explain you what happens when the learning rate is high. Let us say this is the initial W old value, and since the learning rate is high, the new value will be changing drastically. It won't change in small steps. So this is how the change may take place in case the learning rate is high. So the new weight values may even go to the opposite side of the graph, and this may keep on continuing, and we may even move out of the gradient. So this is the high learning rate phenomenon. So in case of high learning rate phenomenon, after multiple optimizations, we might end up landing out of the curve. Now let us understand what happens when the learning curve is kept small. When the learning rate is kept small, the changes are small, and therefore there is a good chance of converging to somewhere near the optimized weight value. This is low learning rate phenomenon. Yeah, that's it about the back propagation and gradient descent optimizer. So before ending the video, let me tell you one thing, that there are multiple types of loss functions and optimizers which we will go through in the next videos. So keep watching my videos, and thanks for watching this video. Thank you for your time. Kindly subscribe my channel, and thanks for your time. Bye.